Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Banter Blitz. I'm Gawain Jones. Sorry for the slight delay. We're just waiting for the Magnus Invitational to finish. So let's start up some games. So if people who challenged me are still around. Hello, Destro. I'm sure you all had fun watching that. What should we play? Really interesting matches today. Slight shame in the delay. Of course, there's some technical issues in the Adireza Hikaru match, and that caused this to start a bit late, but we're here now. And he's playing a Grand Prix against me. I haven't been on the black side of this for a long, long time. Try and remember some theory. Also, a horrible game in this line. Won Gibraltar on the white side. Let's see if I can remember how he did it. You can't take the pawns to the pins. It's E5. I think it should be equal, but I horribly misplayed it. That's a much better move than I played, I think. Anyway, I hope you're all keeping well. It's a bit surreal here. Are we into week 4 of the lockdown here now? I've been keeping busy. We got a dog just before the lockdown, or fostering a dog. And so she's taken up a lot of the time. For those of you who watched the last stream, you might have seen the technical issues I had when she decided to go between my headset and the computer, pulling out one of the wires. And I couldn't get that to work earlier today, so I've had to switch to my laptop for this broadcast. But hopefully it'll be working okay on the laptop. I hope you can all hear me fine. Not sure about my piece sacrifice here, but I was just putting my pieces generally towards his king. Queen E1 is going to be a bit annoying. I don't want to exchange queens. And he played it. Probably he was a bit too strong to start with. Get my excuses in early. Okay, I'm not going to get the queens off the board, so keep some vague attacking chances going. Sorry if my camera's not ideal, but and Stray Mutant, I'm happy with either white or black. If you challenge me, I'll try and get round to your challenge. I think I'm here for about an hour and a half or so, so we'll see how many games we can get through. Point all my pieces towards his king and hope that something happens. I'm not sure about my counterplay here. Mostly that, relying on the fact he's not developed his queen side. It's going to take a few tempies to get a bishop. It's going to take a while for that bishop on c1 to activate, but am I activating it by exchanging lights for bishops? Then I'm hoping that all the pins will be a bit annoying for him. A fun game to start with. If we attack it again, I'll have to defend. Then I double on the f file, attack it again. I think this is working out for me, but I wouldn't be 100% confident. Yeah, I explained last time my De Notte pan. Oh, he's getting the queens off. So I've got a choice here, actually. I can play queen takes queen when his idea is to take with the knight, and then bishop h2 check. And he'll have bishop and knight for my rook, but can I exploit the fact it's still taking a while to develop? Oh, I'll just take his knight with my bishop. Both are tempting, but the bishop is the professional move, probably, so I'll exchange queens instead and see how this goes. Yeah, De Notte is Italian for green knight, as in night and day with an N. Which is a nickname I came up with as a teenager when living in Italy. My subtle idea was that I'm named after one of the Knights of the Round Table, Sir Gawain, And the most famous tale about him is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight with a K. And so that was the reason for my nickname, and I've just stuck with it. I was hoping I was winning this bishop, or at least doing something with my d-pawn, but maybe I'm doing neither, which is a bit annoying. I'm sure someone said that rooks belong on the 7th. Let's try this. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well. So apart from the dog, we've been busy getting the house ready. We bought our first house just before Christmas and then spent Christmas in New Zealand, where my wife is from. Spent summer there, which was beautiful. Went to the Cook Islands, a fantastic area to go to if you're ever in that area of the world. And then slowly getting the house in order, or trying to. It was all going fine while we could get people in to do the work. But with this lockdown, I've had to attempt things myself. And of course, it all goes horribly wrong there. I'm about as DIY savvy as you'd expect a grandmaster to be. So over the weekend, I was battling with the cupboard in our room, trying to put up some poles and paint it. Successfully managed to paint it, put up the poles, and the poles fell down. So it's sort of back to square one there. So just reading through. Yeah, I think Australia, New Zealand is doing quite well with their social distancing, I believe. They brought in very strict rules early and it seems to have worked. Of course, it's isolated enough. My pawns should be doing the business here, sure, that they can keep it under control, hopefully. I believe the Cook Islands is still without any cases. But yeah, it's a beautiful place, so relaxed. My wife's dad is from there, and so we had some reason to go, and I'd love to go back. Met some enthusiastic chess players there as well. They're hoping to start up a federation. They don't have one yet. And I live in Sheffield, Jeru. I moved here 3.5 years ago. South Yorkshire. For people that the football teams are Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United, if you've heard of those, and it's more or less in line with Manchester in the south of the civilized bit of England, as we like to say. I grew up in North Yorkshire, a couple hours north of here, and so it's nice to move back here. I've done a lot of traveling around. Oh, I think I'm winning a piece here. That should be the end of this game. I moved to Italy when I was a teenager for a couple of years. Then our family moved to Ireland and I finished school there. Thanks, Destro. Moved back to England briefly and then moved out to New Zealand for about 18 months with my to-be wife. Okay. And I apologize if I missed your challenge, everyone. I'm just scrolling down and accepting where I can. Hello, Cosmax, are you there? I was in County Clare, in Ennis. Now, I asked on Twitter what opening to play, and a good friend recommended the trompe. So I'll attempt to trompe. It's been a long time since I looked at it. I'll probably backfire terribly, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I was in Ennis for 2 years, County Clare, on the west side of Ireland, near the Banratty tournament, some of you might have heard of. A fantastic weekender, highly recommended. I love going back there. Everyone is very friendly. And one of the most sociable tournaments you'll ever play. Now, am I supposed to go E3 or E4? Maybe it doesn't matter. time is probably going to be more an issue in this game. Thank you, Vigo Morph. I hope I am. Yeah, it's a beautiful area around there in Ireland. I enjoyed living there. And my family moved up to the border in Northern Ireland, in County Fermanagh. But I didn't really live there. I was on my gap year and traveling around playing non-stop tournaments. I was actually looking, I think this is probably the longest gap I've had without a classical game of chess possibly since I lived in New Zealand. If there aren't a lot of chess tournaments there, but it's likely to be my longest ever break by the time we go back to it. But it's good to see these online tournaments starting. The Magnus Carlsen Invitational was a great fun to watch. It was a shame the candidates was postponed in the way it was, but the safety of the players and their trips home are, of course, far more important than the chess. The idea of the trump, well, I think there are a couple of ideas. This is one of them, Blender Panda, to double the F-pawns and then target them. You're just trying to develop your pieces quickly, really. You're very happy to sacrifice the B2 pawn in a lot of lines. Well, I think I can take with this knight. The queen is hanging, and I'll take that with the knight. I think that's a piece. Yeah, Bateman. Normally, it's nothing to do with the US president, although Magnus alleged that was the reason he played it in the World Championship match in the first round. That one worked out well. Let's see, maybe I'll try another one. Hello, Rashad Augsburg, down in the south of Germany. I played for Munich in the second Bundesliga, or I played for them this season. We were looking promising to get promoted, but we weren't able to play the last round. So, well, we'll probably see Banter Blitz again, some ideas. Which one shall I play? Lots of choices here. Yeah, so it was looking like we had good chance of being promoted. We just needed 1.5 out of the last 2 matches, but they weren't played. So I'm not sure what will happen now. I really want him to take this bishop. Then I can take back, and I've got ideas playing G6. But he's being mean and just playing sensible moves instead. Okay, let's give him the B2 pawn. I want some initiative. Yes, sorry. Simon Williams is nearly always at Banrathy. He also loves the event. It's one of those unusual tournaments where they're slightly frowned upon if you're not drinking during the game. But still, it's a very family-friendly tournament. And so I have to confess, I wasn't really cheering on anyone in the Premier League. The team I support used to be in the Premier League, but fallen on hard times somewhat, Middlesbrough. When I was 7 or so, I started following football. I was living in Gisborough in Cleveland, and Middlesbrough was the nearest city. So I started supporting them. And they were doing well. They got promoted from the old First Division into the Premier League the first season. But those were the glory days, and suffering a bit since then. Sorry, Thomas. This microphone should be decent. I apologize. Thinking about my games I'm proud of. One of the first that comes to mind is Morozevich was one of my heroes growing up. I loved his creative style. Him and Kasparov. The first I really got into chess was watching the short Kasparov match on TV. last time chess was on TV in the UK. And yeah, I was very impressed. So I was always trying to copy his style, but then copying Morozovic's openings because they seemed easier than the main lines, which with hindsight might have been some mistake. But still, I loved his creative ideas. So I had the chance to play and beat Mirosevic in a European Championship in Warsaw, I believe. So I was very pleased with that game. And then recently I played quite a nice game against Levon Oronian in Isle of Man. So those two spring to mind straight away. And I haven't stopped playing the King's Indian Clive and the Dragon. The Dragon I don't play as much. I've explained a few times before. I still enjoy playing it, especially in Blitz and Rapid, and where I don't think my friends can prepare for me. I like playing the Dragon. The issue is more the number of forcing lines, that when people knew I was playing the Dragon, they could prepare some lines that are very forcing and didn't let me play enough. Oh, I'm going to lose on time in this game. I realized Queen D5 is there. Yeah, so they're against some weaker GMs and strong IMs who knew theory, and I couldn't really get a game against them. They just knew too much theory. So I stopped playing it so much. But I played it against Magnus, and as it says on a mug I was given, I was a piece up against Magnus Carlsen, and all I got was this lousy mug, a present from Irva at one of the Banrati tournaments, in fact. A very nice gift. Now what's going on in this ending? He should be a bit better with his bishop versus knight, but more importantly that I've only got 20 seconds. But probably a drawn king and pawn. But the fact he's played a6 should give me some advantage. I've got the extra tempo. I've not got time to calculate. I'll try and create. He'll win my queen side. I'll try and create a pawn, tough one on the king side. I think f6 is f6 going to be the fastest way. Okay, now g6 is going to be the fastest, and pick up the g7 pawn. Take that. I've not counted. He's got the wrong pawn. If it was a c pawn or an h pawn, it would be a draw. As it is, I could well lose on time though. Got there just in time. Oof, good game. That was tough. And hello, Cobra. I know you were asking me about a game in chat earlier. And let's play one of the King's Indians. Sorry, I missed a bit of the chat there as I realized quite how low I was on time. And yeah, the Trompowsky isn't played the whole time because you're having to go up the bishop pair normally, which is a big concession. But you do have your trumps in return. Excuse the pun. It was unintentional, I assure you. And yeah, Stray Mutant, it was very upsetting hearing about poor Ariane and their I've been involved in the Australian chess scene for a while. I knew her a little. The whole chess world was in shock. Clive, would I recommend the King's Indian or Grunfeld for the GM? Someone going for GM. I don't know. My opening transitioned through the Benko gambit, which I was playing until IM strength. But then I was getting, well, you probably once you're an IM, you shouldn't just be playing the Benko. But I was also getting frustrated at move orders the whole time. And so I picked up the King's Indian because I could play it, regardless of what move order was played. So it's a practical point when I didn't really want to do, I just wanted to do playing and not studying chess. It made sense. The Grunfeld is a great opening, but you have to pay more attention to move orders. I think if you want to be a GM, you should be comfortable playing as many different types of position as possible. I win a piece here, Cobra. You've got a very loose knight in b3. Yeah, my loss to Magnus was very wins I've had against weaker players myself, where once you know you're winning, it's a very dangerous point in a game. You stop being able to calculate precisely, and you see the finish line. And when you're playing a much stronger opponent, keeping that focus is incredibly difficult. Of course, the nerves just got to me. And I probably played as well as you can to lose to a position where you're a piece up for nothing. It showed quite how hard it is to win games of chess and how good he is. Blue Hayes, Julian put the romp in Trompowsky. Very true. He really put it on the map for English players. And now it's practically a main line if you were playing in an English weekend tournament. You'd expect to see it almost every other game. Now, am I getting mated? If I take on e3, queen d8, check king, rook c8. I don't believe I am. I can move the bishop from g6 and run there if necessary. But he might try it anyway. I should, or else I'm winning with my bishops. Okay. Let's just be careful and not allow mate. What's the best way of doing this? Let's just stop his queen coming to d8. He's a bit tied down. And the subject is the greatest attacker from England ever produced is tough. Julian, yeah, has a fantastic attacking flair. And openings were always his problem. So the strengths he got to, his openings were definitely a weakness. Whereas John Nunn, also a fantastic attacking player, but he had the theory behind him. Thanks, Cobra. Managed to get my counterattack in time there. And so, yeah, both very different types of attacking player. And then, of course, you remember Nigel Short when he was playing his match with Garry Kasparov was also a fantastic attacking player. Let's go back to 1e4 for this. Aquidamo, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And a French. Let's try Tarash. Hello, Mick. Oh, let's try and exploit his move order. Now, I think the point is I don't need to defend this pawn on d4 yet. And then I develop my knight this way and claim. My knights are a bit more sensible than normal. Do I need to defend it now? No, let's give it if he wants. I've got some annoying checks on light squares. Here's that old trick. He is attacking d4 3 times, but I had some bishop b5 check, winning his queen at the end. And so he defends the pawn. Now, I think this subtle move might... Sorry, he attacked the pawn with bishop d7. I think king h1 defends the pawn, just so it's not check when he takes either of my knights. And then I can go bishop e3, and it's an annoying thing. be faster. The top players playing so much h4 nowadays doesn't make sense. Well, I think it really depends on the position. We've seen that AlphaZero and Neither both love space, and h4 is often not really an attacking move. It's more just grabbing space for later on in the game. Because of course it can be attacking as well, but that's the nuance really. It's not just to attack. And Clive, I think when you play the King's Indian, you're acknowledging that you're not playing for equality. If you just want a position that is definitely, or that Black should be making a draw, then probably some Queen's Gambit style repertoire. Queen's Gambit Nimzo is sounder. So the King's Indian, you're keeping winning chances very much on the board. You're accepting a messy position where you're probably a bit worse, although it's very hard to prove. Now, let's just move my bishop, so I don't need to keep thinking every move about whether he's attacking the pawn. Now I'm threatening g4 and grabbing some space. Yeah, with the King's Indian, you're just keeping the game alive, really. What's going on here? So I want this knight in on b3. No, let's give away the c4 square instead. But the King's Indian is a long way from. I mean, switch all my pawns. Let's threaten his knight and the d5 pawn now. The King's Indian, oh, I think he's allowed it. A long way from being refuted. They're still playing at correspondence and still scoring fine as Black. So I don't think there are any lines that are just bad. I've started playing the Grunfeld as well, but it's more for variety for me and to be a lot less predictable for my opponents. A lot of players are happy to take on the King's Indian, but play some strange move orders to avoid the Grunfeld and play them anti. And that doesn't work so well if you also have the King's Indian in your repertoire. Yeah, let's just defend my pawn. At the moment, I don't have any student Zygomorph. If the lack of tournaments continues, then I might have to start having. I have one pupil at the moment, but might start having to have some more. I'm actually spending my time writing a new book for quality at the moment while I'm at home. And straight, I think I've generally been a tactical, aggressive player is my style. I think less these days than I used to be. But when I was 2250 or something, I remember a friend said I was 2400 at tactics and 1400 at positional play, which gives some idea of the style, how my style started at least. Being known as the cheaper merchant. I had pretty terrible openings for a long time, even until I was an IM was when I started learning proper openings. And so I had a lot of lost positions, but I'm a tricky player. And so because I've had so many lost positions, I don't mind them so much, and I'll keep on fighting and see what I can find in the position. I regret not having learnt more main lines as a child. It's harder to start playing open Sicilians and Queen's Gambit declines if it's not been in your repertoire. Thank you, Aquidamo. Hello, Johnny Walker. Are you there? See how this one goes. These 3-minute games I keep needing to remember are 3 minutes because I'm running far too low on time. Sorry, Johnny, you're not here. Maybe we can play again later. Sorry, Johnny. Let's try someone else. Hello, Frankie, are you there? Straight, I'm playing a combination. I'm accepting challenges more or less at random. I'm just trying to go through the oldest ones and moving upwards. But then I'm getting some of these that unfortunately the guys aren't there anymore. Nope, sorry, Frankie, you're not there either. Third time lucky. A bit high rated, but hi, Chuck, are you there? Yes, we get a game. E4, E5. What should we do? Let's try this line that Magnus played in the narrow. I think it's H3, the move that Magnus just played against Fabiano, but I was rather unimpressed with it, so I'll go A3 instead. I actually played this at D5. That's not okay. And now I just sort of play as black with the A3. Or let's try this. Knight to E5. Keep it a bit random. Yeah, I actually played this A3 in the 4NCL, the British League, many years ago. Sat next to Jakob Ogar, Jacob Agard, depending on how your Danish pronunciation is. I hope I'm not losing a piece. Need to pay a bit of attention. And yeah, I went A3, G6, Knight takes E5. I delayed Halloween Gambit, and Jakob agreed a quick draw on the board next to me and said he couldn't play if I wasn't taking it seriously on the board next to him. It's a bit of a shame because actually it's quite a dangerous sacrifice. And I looked at it recently, and the engines are still think that white is absolutely fine there. And it's got the potential to annoy your opponents as well. And I hope that we get a game Novi Zagreb. To see how it goes. I'm sorry, Stray, did I answer? Yeah, I'm just playing the mixture. I think I'm not sure exactly how the time is going. I think I'm probably playing for about another hour before Pascal starts the after show. Now, how am I going to convert the extra pawn here? Let's exchange off all the rooks. And Magnus was saying something about that same colored bishop endings were as winning as knight endings. But I'm not sure I completely agree with him. We'll see what happens in this ending, but he's correct. Of course, it's only sort of half an extra pawn, this double C pawn. But still, maybe I can do something with it. Now I want to get my king in. I want to challenge his bishop. Let's see. Go bishop G6, king E, not king E4 immediately because I'll blunder my pawn. So let's go G3 first. Probably this is drawn. But see if I can get anywhere. Grab a bit of space. Modern Benoni, well, probably depends playable in which form and against who. I think it is playable. For example, I think Pantsuzaya, apologies for the pronunciation, the Georgian Grandmaster, plays it more or less exclusively, and he's a decent 2600 level player, so 26 plus. So I think it is very much playable. Now, how am I doing this? I'll go B4. Yeah, my extra pawn is looking less and less relevant here. Probably the most likely is that I'll lose on time. Now, how to... Okay, sort of use my extra pawn. Now I'll come back round. I think he has a fortress. So if I go g4, he's going to react with g5. And then it really is the fortress. I'll come round to bring my king to h4. And he won't let me. Okay, so I'll go g4, g5 anyway. A very complex question there, Clive, about my opening preparation. I tend to use a mixture of. Am I blundering a piece? I hope not. A mixture of the top level games in the opening. You can actually take twice on. Yeah, okay, this looks like it's a draw. Oh, sorry, I didn't actually mean to not take the draw there. Good game, chap. Sorry, that wasn't a very fascinating one, but solidly defended. Kenny, hello, are you there? Let's try another Trombowski. Yeah, sorry, to make my, it doesn't allow the trump. Okay, let's go. If he's a Slav, I'll try sort of deferred. Nope. Okay. This is too mainstream for me. Look at the top level games, correspondence games, and then what the computers are recommending. I think at the moment there's quite a lot of fertile territory with Viva running through lines that haven't been checked yet. It'll come up with a lot of new ideas. But it's slightly different at the elite levels where they're playing each other so often. They have slightly different openings than lower down. They have to be completely correct most of the time, although with the amount of rapid and blitz that they're playing now, they can expand their repertoire quite a lot. And go for theoretically dubious lines, but ones that you'd never be able to refute over the board, or that still give a good. Not sure about bishop e4, Kenny. Are you not just losing a bit of time? You don't want to exchange your jack to a bishop for a knight here, anyway. Yeah, going for lines will give you some initiative, which is quite important in faster chess. You just want a straightforward plan. You saw in this game today, Magnus's Archangel or Muller or Archangelisk, whatever you decide to call it. What he played was probably objectively very bad, but Fabiano didn't have time to figure it out over the board. E4, somewhat double-edged move. I'm losing my structural advantage, but his king is vulnerable and he's behind in development. So I'm hoping that my attack should be too strong here. And Stuart Becker, I'm accepting without actually looking whether it's 3-0 or 3-2 or 5-0. And guys, I'll accept as many challenges as I can, but we'll just see what happens, whether we get the game or not. I'll try not to skip anyone, but if I don't get to your name, I apologize. I'll just grab all these pawns here. Looks like a safe way of playing. And Gustafsson, I'm glad you had a good game with Anish. Hopefully he can win one of the matches in the Magnus invite. I think people have been a bit harsh about his game so far. That he's had some very promising positions as white and not converted them or not put enough pressure on, but just players are finding it very difficult to play proper chess staring at a computer screen. Even the top guys are used to playing blitz where your hand is moving, and it's very, very easy to zone out. Do I have any moves here? And just play as a case in point, just sort of let's attack his knight, like it's trapped. Play just sort of sensible looking moves, but without really thinking about it. Whereas when you're at a board, you'll find it easier to focus. And so the level can be a bit lower, a bit more superficial. We've seen a lot of players just playing too fast because they're used to blitz chess. Howling Mad Benji, I don't think I ever actually did play the Albion counter gambit. I'm not sure why. I have played the Chigorin a few times. Another Morrisville speciality she wrote a book about. Thank you, Kenny. You lost weakening your dark squares. The bishop b4 wasn't a good plan. Things went a bit wrong. And hello, Stevie. Are you there? Let's attempt another trump. Probably my last attempt at a trump. I'll switch back to 1e4. Give it another few seconds. Sorry, Stevie. Try a different opponent. Sand Viper. Sounds like a Game of Thrones reference. Are you there? And Blue Haze, yeah. Or Caracan. What should we go for? Let's play an advanced. I think any kind of rivalry in any sport is good for the players. Let's just take it. Play this A3 line. It's still strange little move. I might go B4 at some point and expand. But ideas of Queen G4 attacking pawn on G7 as well. Yeah, I think any kind of rivalry is good for to push you ahead. And so it's sometimes a difficult balance between the personal rivalries and then playing the team event. For example, going back to the Armenians have often scored very well because there have been less rivals and more working as seconds for the pawn. In the past, at least. And so they know each other very well and very good camaraderie. But maybe if they're forced to play each other, then it's a bit more difficult. Yeah, Crush. I'm playing whichever online tournaments I spot, really. Just trying to play as much as I can. I've always liked playing, so slightly difficult without as many tournaments around. I think at least my online blitz has improved. We'll see. It'll probably all go terribly wrong now for the next few. But in the last month, I've played a lot more online blitz than I had for a few years. And hopefully getting back into the habit. When I was a teenager, I played a lot online, and to the detriment of me studying openings. And now I've been trying to work on the other side. So the balance is important, especially if there are more online tournaments than being used to staring at a computer screen and actually thinking is very important. I think actually this Banter Blitz Cup helped me a lot that way. Actually talking about the moves I'm playing made me think about them. Whereas if I'm just listening to music at home, it's easy just to play moves. And oh, not sure that was a good way of going. This is checkmate, isn't it? Then it's very easy, yeah, to play too superficially and not see any tactics around. Hello, Syrian. Thomas, oh, Alakine. Okay, let's play this 4 pawns. It is what I've generally played, and I hope it was good enough for Fabiano, even if the game obviously didn't go the way he'd have liked. And Thomas, I can, oh, Bishop C5 immediately. Yeah. A few move orders tricks that you have to remember in this line. I think I had a game with Alex before in this position, but I probably can't remember any of it. Was this how I played? I'm really not sure. That was in the aforementioned Banrati tournament. Okay. He couldn't play D5 to tap my center, but then D5, and those are very big pawns. Knight C6. Okay, I'll just go. Yeah, Thomas, I said already that probably Kasparov has to be my Kasparov and Morozevich were my favorites growing up, and probably Kasparov. I tried to emulate my style on him as much as possible, but unfortunately without learning as much theory as he had, which is obviously one of his huge advantages. Yeah, Mick, I started what was young then, but these days, but I'm sure it won't be long before we have IMs at 6. Now this knight looks precarious. Is there any way I can exploit it? Let's just leave it and go for mate. If in doubt, mate ends the game. And yeah, Mick, I beat Malcolm Payne when I was 9, but it was a rapid game and I won on time. So not as impressive, but still, the same. It got some publicity at the time. I think then it was a world record, but I'm pretty sure it's not these days. For endgames, I've always enjoyed endgames quite. I think being a fairly tactical player, I was listening to someone recently who said they thought tactical players, maybe it was Peter Sidler, were generally better at endgames. So endgames, probably have to exchange queens here. Because a lot of endgames are very tactical. And somehow I found the position when they're simplified, the tactics are much easier to solve. I think I also, at least in the past, had my opponents were disgusted that the game had reached an endgame from such a huge advantage that they'd had earlier in the game, or we had some mess and then they thought they could relax once an endgame appeared. But yeah, I like endgames. This one should be an extremely good one with my extra queenside pawn and his very bad knight on a5, which looks like it's dropping off here. Yeah, it was today, Stray Mutant, still, or maybe it was yesterday for you now. Today here, that Magnus had his Alakine. I think the line he played was pretty critical, but it looked like neither of them could remember. Again, Fabiano probably played a bit too quickly. critical points. And Nick, I mentioned at the start, my favorite football team, unfortunately, is Middlesbrough. But Liverpool are a decent team too. I live in Hillsborough, so obviously we have some connection to the Liverpool team. Have they decided what's happening about the Premier League yet? I haven't kept up to date. Because didn't Liverpool need one more point or something to wrap up the title when they stopped? And yes, Thomas, I think it's definitely a weakness of the lower rated players, even lower rated grandmasters, and like including people of, thank you, Theory, of my level, and everyone, excluding the elite, that we spend far too much time on openings, probably because the work is easier than on middle games and end games, where the real work should be done to improve. If you do some work on end games, it will really pay off. I don't often play open students, so let's try it. Yeah, once you know an end game, it's not going to change dramatically, whereas openings come in and out of fashion. So in and out of fashion, let's go Queen F3. I played this a few years ago. But I can play, I think with Queen F3, I sometimes play Bishop G5, sometimes G4, sometimes Bishop E3. I can't remember now. Let's go G4. Too long since I looked at any theory on this move. I didn't have so much coaching growing up, Blue Haze, but recently I was lucky to have a couple of sessions, well, 3 sessions now with Artur Yusupov, talking endgames and tactics training, opening stuff there, which I found was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Proper hard work, but you could feel it paid off afterwards. GRZK, I think you have to take on E5 and sacrifice the exchange. This looks very scary. Now, which knight takes B5 is what I want to play, but then there's some annoying Queen A5 check at the end. Maybe this isn't so bad for you. Let's just play a sort of random move. Assuming GM Repertoire Series, that's opening. Actually, I'm not even threatening F7. I think there are a lot of very good books on middle games. The Dvoretsky Analytic Manual, I think, is the one I was working through most recently, which is very hard work, but highly recommended. Can sit there at the board for hours and still not get to the truth of the position. Do I want to check? Yeah, I don't want to exchange things here. Objectively, knight takes E6 must be the better move, but I want to sack something and find mate. I think Bateman, some youngsters are obviously overcoached, but it really depends on the player. For example, Gukesh is a fantastic talent I've had some very good games with him, but openings are definitely his weakness. I think once he's learned some reliable openings, he'll be extremely strong. We've had 3 games, and I've had 3 fantastic positions out of the opening, but one he outplayed me completely, and I was very lucky that he showed me some respect and accepted my draw in a position he really shouldn't have done. Whereas the other 2, he didn't actually survive the opening at all. So it really just depends on player to player. Deegan, I haven't read Chester Zebras. I know it's a very good book, and I read 7 Deadly Chess Sins, and I'm meaning to read Moves That Matter. Not that that's really a chess book, as Jonathan would say. I bought it, but I gave it to a friend in New Zealand, and before reading it myself. I'm going to lose some time trying to find some pretty mate here. Okay, let's just play some checks. I want to castle queenside with the check and hope I've got some more. You can't see my game. I'm sorry about that. If that's the case, I'll check afterwards. I'm going to lose on time in the meantime, probably. I've been enjoying this game too much. So I have to focus a second. Okay, that's good, Chiru. This is very random position. Oh, and I got very lucky. Sorry, GR. A fun game, but descended into complete chaos there. Hello, Darth. Are you there? Darth Carter. Sorry, there was some technical issue there, but are we back? And Bogdan, I mentioned this Turetsky analytic manual. I thought it is a very impressive book, but does require a lot of work. But you feel you're suddenly going to do better once you've started, even if you get close to solving them. If you get disappointed at setbacks, that's probably not the right book. You should be looking for something a bit more straightforward. Keenan, I'm sure that certain lines of the dragon will be refuted, but I don't think the entire opening will. But of course, it's very difficult to know what will happen with openings in the future. So we'll just have to see there. Sunday, I think there are some openings that might become theoretically unplayable. I think I wasn't following the TCC that closely, but it looked like White had some very big scores in certain openings. But the computer got good enough now that some openings aren't playable, or at least some variations in some lines. But I think we expected when engines started being stronger than humans, let's sack this 4, try to get a 19 on D6, that there would really narrow what openings were playable. But it didn't really happen. They showed that actually things that we thought were refuted, there was some narrow path to survival. So I don't think we're that close to chess being refuted by these super strong engines. In fact, seeing the complete contrast in styles between Stockfish and Viva is very interesting, showing the game is still very rich, unexplored. Clive, I really try to put things on the board when I'm working on them. I find it very difficult to go deep into a position looking at it on a computer screen. As I was mentioning, I think that's a problem for the guys playing in the Magnus Invitational, that they're just not used to going deep into a position on the computer screen. I actually played one proper FIDE-rated tournament online many years ago, the South African Open. They tried it online. We had an arbiter there. It was while I was living in Melbourne. So I was playing overnight, which was surreal. But there I had a chessboard set up next to me so I could play the moves on the computer screen onto the chessboard and make it feel like a real game. And I would guess that's how most of the people playing in sit chess at the moment will be going about it. Otherwise, you are far too liable to play some superficial move. You really want to be, for example, writing down your moves as well, just to keep it in what feels like a tournament situation as much as possible. With a game of chess where one split is just going to cost you all of those many hours hard work, it's vital to keep as focused as you possibly can. And the chess rules of thumb, Clive, I'm really not sure what they are. Of course, there are books that go into different topics. For example, Delavier's 100 endgames you must know. It's a bit tricky. How will I, defending my rook and, let's just block it. Probably had some forced win. But yeah, Delavier's 100 games you must know has, well, as the title suggests, the vital endgames. And I've heard good things about John Watson's series, for example. I'll just take pawns, I'll be greedy and not have to calculate. Oh, thank you. Okay. I shouldn't get flagged with 20 seconds here. Even if I'm not as quick as I used to be. Should be enough time. Plaid, I'll hopefully get to you. I know that a lot of people have been waiting a long time for the games. So I'm just working through, and I really apologize if we don't get a game. I'll try and get to you as fast as I can. Hello, Devisa. Let's see if you're there for a few seconds. And sorry about that technical issue. I hope it's been resolved now. Sorry, Devisa. And hello, Tom Kalina, are you there? Yes. Ooh. Okay, we'll go back into Sicilian. Let's play some open Sicilian. Yeah, Blue, hey, thanks for reminding me. The game with Luke Samueli was a lot of fun. I quite like playing Luke. He's a very principled player. Let's just take a Maroczy bind style structure. Try and exploit that e4 hasn't been attacked straight away. And we have a Maroczy bind. not sure about a6. I'll try and exploit it by saying that in this structure that pawn is not doing an awful lot. To fianchetto or not to fianchetto? Let's just develop. Yeah, Luke is a very principled player. He'll take the material on offer. If you can't see a way, it loses. And so I've had some fun games with him sacrificing for some big attacks and him taking the bait. Feels a bit like the old 19th century games. As you see, he's, of course, an extremely strong player, not a politician these days more than a chess player, but and with some very big scalps, but with his style, when things on an off day, if you're not calculating but you're playing very risky chess, then things can backfire horribly. And Clive, I've not checked the Burnett variation recently. I think in my book I suggested that theoretically it probably wasn't equalizing, at least it was more a practical opening. Subline of the dragon, everyone, where you sacrifice the exchange and a pawn to open up white's king. A lot of fun, but computers might not entirely trust it. I've not checked it with the new level computers with either though. Ali, good question. What to suggest against 1e5? Obviously, e5 is a good move. And what I step the Scotch, which can be solid and attacking too. Sounds like a good time to plug the book I'm writing, but I'm doing a 1e4 repertoire for quality chess. And so buy that book and hopefully the answer will be revealed. Not sure yet when it will be coming out. Of course, at the moment, I'm still writing it, and with COVID-19, everything is a bit up in the air. But lines that I've played, the Scotch has been my main opening, but I played the Lopez, I played the Italian or Gioco Piano. My game with Devon Oronian was one of these, I don't know what its true name is, a faster Italian and a Gioco Piano, where you open it up quickly with c3 and d4. Okay, what do I want to do here? Develop my, let's just get my king in, play against the bishop. So yeah, that scored very well for me. And the Scotch gambit I quite like as well. Instead of recapturing the pawn after 3d4, you go bishop c4. So of course there are lots of options. Theoretically, 25 is in the Berlin or Marshall the most solid black options, and so the hardest to find an advantage, but they're still playable, interesting positions you can find. And Tom Collina, I don't think you're stopping my queenside pawns here. I could win a pawn with c6, but I could win a piece with c6, but I want more than a piece here. I want at least one queen from these pawns. Seagamorph, good psychological tips. I think one thing I've noticed, you definitely, thank you, Tom Collina, you definitely don't want to be thinking about rating at any point, like during a tournament at all. Okay, let's see a big test. Heisenberg, are you there? You almost outrate me. This is going to be difficult. And E45. Okay. I discussed it, so let's try. I'll play either a Scotch Gambit or what I had with Levon. So we'll get the game with everyone. Yeah, so you never want to think about what's happening to your rating, and you want to just try and be just in the position as much as you possibly can. I find as well, even considering the, I don't remember what I'm supposed to do. Too long, I think it's the same. Too long since I looked. Yeah, I try and avoid even having an assessment of the position, just a relative strength of the different moves. Certainly, if you think you're winning, is when things can go very wrong very fast. You start to lose objectivity because you've assessed positions winning and you can't find the win. You don't find some small advantage and you get frustrated. And in the end, you just play some random move that is obviously bad, but all the natural looking moves don't work. They're not giving you the big advantage. So you feel obliged to play a dodgy one instead. That certainly happened to me a lot in the past. And I think it's a very easy trap to fall into. And yeah, keeping the focus again. Of course, when the nerves come in as well, then it's all down to psychology. I started working with a sports psychologist a year or so ago, and that really helped to get to 2,700, even if I subsequently fell back a bit. Now I'm just getting distracted. Does this work? If it does, then this game has been a very good plug for the line. Learn more in the book. Yeah, of just psychological tricks of trying to stay as calm as possible. These resets, so that you focus on the game and you stop thinking about how good it would be to win, how this is the highest rated player you've beaten, all these thoughts that are obviously churning around in your head the whole time. Jamsnacker, is it disrespectful to start 1H4? Thank you, Heisenberg. That went very well. I wouldn't take it personally, but some people will. Obviously, 1H4 is not the best move on the board, but that can hardly refute it. You must still just be in equal position. Crackers, are you there? Yeah, I think it's moves like H4 again ruffle some players' feathers that they think you're not taking the game seriously. But it's best not to consider that kind of thing while you're playing, and just be happy if your opponent plays a suboptimal move. Sorry, Crackers. Not there. Let's try someone else. Vegan, I think you were chatting in the chat before. Are you still there? If so, would you like a game? Sicilian. Now, 2 knights e3, I think, is what I will be recommending in the book. One A3 Jamsnacker is a move that I've played in a few blitz and rapid games, particularly online, and I probably, when I know I'm playing a theoretical opponent, that you can't be worse with 1A3. It's going to be a generally useful move in a lot of places. And I have very fond memories of this. I went to play in Grand Prix spirit with F4, Knight F3, Castle Kingside, Queen E1, Queen H4, F5, and checkmate, if he lets me. Otherwise, I'll have to try and attack his weaknesses on the queen side with those double T pawns. And Santi, yeah, 20 miles in a famous game. The opening got nicknamed the St. George in his honor after that D4 A6 game. It reminds me of amusing game I played with a very nice Australian. He's still an IM at the moment. And I nearly always play 1e4, but I played d4, and he sank into a long think and responded with b5. And after I went e4, he played a6 very quickly. And afterwards, he said it was because he'd prepared e4, a6 in the morning. Clive, the book will be hopefully it'll be a one book, one volume book that way.
I'm just testing here. I've turned on my microphone to see if they can actually hear me, because that might tell me something. So they do hear me. So, all right. So what is going on here? I'm trying to fix this, as you see, guys. I'm not sure what is going on. Clearly, you can hear me. I can hear Gawain. It should be passing through, but I don't know why it's not. Oh yeah, the sound is even better than before. Maybe because that's coming from my microphone, but I don't know. I mean, the only thing I could suggest is repeating what you say, Gawain, since I can hear you and they can hear me. But it's not a great. Obviously, I don't do a very good British accent, so they're gonna know the trick. Um, I don't know. You know, maybe yeah, maybe close out. Well, actually, let me do one thing. I'm gonna try. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm going to close the. I'm gonna bring Zoom back, so I'll remove it from my scene for a second, and then I'll just bring it back, and we'll see if that does anything. Yeah, I apologize. You have a beautiful, yeah, you have a beautiful position. Gawain is saying he was enjoying talking through this game, so I'm going to relay for a second until I figure something out. This has been a nice game. Uh, yeah, sure, but really, actually, what I just did is not. It's really is not going to do anything. I'm afraid, because the sound should have been coming through regardless. I changed something here, but I doubt it's going to go through. So this might be the kind of thing where Gawain is saying that he gambited a bishop on top of the usual pawn here. Well, I would suggest doing something different, but because this might be just about the last game, because I'm going to start the after show afterwards. Maybe we'll just let you play. I'll relay some of the comments, and because by the time I fix this or start a new stream, it's probably going to be about an hour and a half anyway. So I'll just let you play and. Uh, I am apologizing on Gawain's behalf. I mean, I don't think it's actually your fault. It's probably something on the tech side. I don't quite know what. Um, and someone said I can just comment. Sure, I'll comment. So this is a Scandinavian. Uh, he played Queen D6 to avoid the move B4, which was that was an old Tony Miles favorite, I think. B4 as a car. What? Yeah, yeah. So Gawain was going to repeat. He was going to repeat B4. Uh, Gawain is mentioning that 95 is a better move against C6 than against A6 because of the possibility of knight C6. But the pawn capture was a little bit odd. really do wonder what I could have done that changed the sound settings somehow, because I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing anything, so it's seems like one of these glitches that happen. That's Gawain is saying that it couldn't be the dog because his headphones are Bluetooth wireless, so they could not have. It can't be a wire, and because I can hear him, obviously it's not a wire. It's a something in between. Indeed, a Kasparov fan, the input sound from Gawain is not going through. We have realized that. That's why I'm speaking and trying to relay a few comments, and I would try to do something else, but because this is towards the end of the stream, I just figured by the time I would do it, it would be about over anyway. So I'm sure Gawain will be back shortly, maybe before the end of this Magnus Carlsen Invitational, if he's got some time. Gawain is apologizing on behalf of anybody who didn't get a chance to play today. He's suggesting that you try to get to the top of the list next time. Ah, here we go. It's always good to add. Sometimes it's my 1 year old daughter. Um, Sometimes it's a dog. Is this a big dog, small dog? What kind you said? Okay, a largish terrier dog. I don't know very much about dogs myself, so. And yes, someone is asking if I've thought of turning the sound on and off. Yes, I've sort of tried tried multiple things here, but for some reason, yeah. I mean, I could do a if I had I could do a computer reboot, but then obviously that will stop the stream. So I have a somewhat limited ability to do things. I could restart that software also that I used to capture the stream, and so every one of my options seems to have issues. Maybe a better tech person could figure it out, and that's why you don't always have a grandmaster hosting the stream, I suppose. But all right, so Gawain is relieved by bishop takes c6, picking up a rook. So again, everybody, I apologize. I apologize for the technical issues here. Um, and after this, we're going to go through my after show, going through today's games. There was some excitement. I'll try to talk a little bit about what happened and let you know what I know. Gawain making a provocative move f3 here, since it's the last game, he says. He's got ideas of queen d8 mate sometimes. Someone says Hercule Poirot, enter the show. I guess my voice, it's unmistakable that I'm not Gawain. Um, um, yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that either. I agree. Maybe Inspector Clouseau. All right, you get to play Queen D8 mate. All right. So Gawain says thank you to Zygomorph. Um, I guess thank you to everyone. And it is a little bit weird to relay someone's words. I don't think I would be a very good translator, but I guess I'll just say on behalf of Gawain, thanks to everybody, and hopefully you guys follow my voice to the after show, which is going to start in a few minutes, and I'm going to make it a point because of these technical issues to make sure that we get Gawain back. It's always a pleasure to have him, so we'll have him back for sure before the end of this tournament. So thanks, guys. I'm gonna end the stream, and if you have time, I would love for you to follow me to the after show. Thanks, and I'll say thank you to Gawain myself.